Yeah, Congressman Rob Wittman. He's a member of the House Armed Services Committee and somebody I served with in the United States Congress. Congressman, thank you so much for joining us on Sunday Morning Futures. The president, he seems to be putting blame out there, but everyday Americans, when they go to fill up their tank of gas, when they go to the grocery store, it is painful out there.
It is, Jason. We see the impact that it's having. As I talk to folks across the Commonwealth of Virginia, they're hurting. We see that the average family budget is impacted by about 5% annually. It's incredible the things that are happening. And this is not related to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. If you look at the consumer price index increase from February of last year to February of this year, it's 10%. This is a phenomenon brought on by the Biden administration.
Well, there are some real impacts. I mean, if you look at everything from the energy sector to food, I mean, there is not a place in the economy that this is, and there's no end in sight. I guess one of the concerns is what's the plan to deal with it? Because Joe Biden, when he first ran, was supposed to be the man with the plan. But I don't know that Americans understand what the president's plan here is, other than wanting to raise taxes and spend more money. But that doesn't solve the problem. It exacerbates the problem, right?
It does. It exacerbates the problem. We've seen this massive amount of spending that the Biden administration has put in place. We see them walking away from American energy independence. We know that's led to the increase in energy prices. Every policy, Jason, they have put in place since they've come in office has exacerbated the economic condition. And I would argue continue to make the economic conditions worse. In fact, many economists say that we're on track not just for inflation, but to be facing a recession in the next 12 months.
Yeah, one of the areas that I know you have a deep concern on is the impact on the defense sector. You're on House Armed Services. You have a lot of Virginians in your congressional district that serve in our military. What's the impact on, say, the Department of Defense?
Well, there's a significant impact. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Milley, told us at a hearing several weeks ago that the 2.2% inflation rate that the Biden administration is factoring in is actually much, much higher. So it's eroding the spending power of the military to do the things we need to do to counter the likes of China and Russia, and also the things that we need to do in the future, because the Biden administration's budget is based on an extraordinarily low rate of inflation that's not reflective of reality. So in every turn, it's affecting what's happening with the military today, but also what will be affecting the military in the future.
Yeah, I think the budget was anticipating a 2.2% rate of inflation, but the Department of Defense and other sectors are having to deal with this. But real families and companies, these people are employed, have to deal with this. Even Kristen Sinema has said, look, we're not going to do what Joe Biden suggested in trying to raise taxes, raising taxes. This is not necessarily the time to do it.
Yeah, I agree. It's an incredibly bad policy at this time to increase taxes, especially increasing taxes on those small businessmen and women. Those individuals are the ones that make the investments. And when you tax the dollars that they have and you take that away from them, that means that they're not going to invest those dollars. They're not going to grow those businesses, or they're not going to be able to have those dollars to deal with inflation. So the policies of this administration to put in place a tax increase in the face of this incredible economic crisis that we're facing is just unbelievable.
You mentioned earlier that the threat, the worry that this is going to lead to a recession. What are those key indicators? What are the things you're looking at? What are the things that the administration, in your opinion, should be doing to counter this and make sure that recession doesn't actually kick in? Because it is painful right now, but it can get a whole lot worse.
Well, Jason, the things that I'm seeing and talking to folks across the Commonwealth is a slowdown in economic activity, and it's in many, many different sectors. And people are having problems getting the materials that they need in their businesses. So supply chain issues are affecting that. You're seeing the early signs of that slowdown. So not only are people able to purchase less because of the erosion of their spending power with inflation, but you're also seeing a slowdown in the economy that economists are saying is coming to us. I think it's going to be incredibly impactful in the months to come.
Yeah, that graphic that was just up there, the real wages decreasing as the rate of inflation is increasing, and also the labor participation rate is still not at the type of number that we need it to be. People are taking some gains in real estate, they're doing other things, but they're not going back into the workforce. And this, as Health and Human Services and others are extending benefits, encouraging people essentially to not get back out into the workforce.
I agree, Jason. The economic policies of the Biden administration continue to exacerbate the country's economic position, whether it's increasing inflation or the potential for a recession. These economic policies are going in the wrong direction. We need to reduce federal spending. We need to make sure that we are empowering businesses. We need to make sure that we are not increasing additional burdens on them by more taxes. We want to make sure that we're doing the right things for this nation's business. And we want to make sure, too, that we have an energy policy that actually puts the United States in an energy independence position, not being dependent on other nations for our energy.
Yeah, if you can't feel the future, you're not going to be able to tackle this and be independent. We were there, and that policy changed. Real quickly, Congressman, I want to get your take on the southern border, because illegal immigration the records are just being smashed on almost a daily basis, certainly on a monthly basis. This president doesn't seem to prioritize safety and security at the border.
He doesn't. Rescinding Title 42 was grossly irresponsible. There is a crisis at the border, tens of thousands of people coming across every day, overwhelming our Border Patrol agents, overwhelming communities, especially in border states, but now in states outside the border states. We see this impact in the United States as a whole. It impacts communities and overwhelming the things that they have to provide to folks that are coming here. We see also the flow of fentanyl coming across the border. We see the humanitarian crisis of people coming to the United States, having to travel across Mexico. It's incredible, Jason. This is indeed a crisis. Why this administration would pursue these policies to put this nation into a homeland security crisis, into a humanitarian crisis, is just beyond me. And people across the spectrum see that. I don't care what your political affiliation. People do not like what's happening at the border.
Yeah, because it's basically an open border, and supposedly Kamala Harris is in charge of it, but barely a mention or any time that's visible about what she's doing. And for Joe Biden to have never visited the southern border in his 50 years or so in political office is just absolutely stunning. Virginia Congressman Rob Wittman, thank you so much for joining us on Sunday Morning Futures. Have a wonderful Easter.
Thanks so much, Jason. You and your family have a blessed Easter.
Thank you.